Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, by the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are continuing our Arabic grammar classes with Ustad Hamid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless all the learners who are learning from him. And Alhamdulillah, today we are going to discuss about what we have learned last class, what was the past, present, and future tenses, as well as we're going to learn something new that Ustad Hamid is going to introduce. Before that, we have a question from an audience would like to know about the harakat with the name. For example, we have seen many places in Quran when names are mentioned, like Adam, Maryam, we see Maryama or Adama or Maryamu or Adamu. So question is, what are the differences in names when adding with the Dhamma or Fata or Kasra? Is it related with the tense or is it related with the sentence structure? So Sheikh, please go ahead.
I think these are a little bit topic that will be discussed in the further sessions, not now. It is like we say, let's say we say Allahu is the name, right? Allahu with the Dhamma on it. But if I say Wallahi, I swear by Allah, Wallahi, we never say Wallahu. Allahu becomes Allahi. You cannot write Allahu. Wallahu never. Wallahu, if you say Wallahu, it means and Allah. And if I say Wallahi, means oath by Allah. Just Allahu, Wallahu means and Allah. Wallahi means oath by Allah. And sometimes if the sentence is like that, Inna Allah. When it comes before Inna, it takes So we cannot say Inna Allahu or Inna Allahi. You have to say Inna Allah. These are the advanced sentence structures that the subject, objects, and different things are determined by the end letters, end haraka of a name. So that's very important. That comes to another section where we are more, and I defer to the later part of the class because we need to know about noun, verbs, all those things a little bit more. Then we say, hey, this is a verb, this is a noun, and I'm changing the haraka to ending like this because of that reason. I'm ending like this because of that reason. Once you know the reason, then if you change the U and E, meaning will change drastically. As I said, Wallahu means and Allah, Wallahi means swear by Allah. Same spelling. Just end letter of Allah is U versus E.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah khairan. That makes sense. Alhamdulillah. Please go ahead, continue with our lessons. I think if you can recap.
Share my screen, right? Share my share. Do you see? Oh, where did I go? Share. What did I share? Stop share. Share.
Yeah. Came.
So let's start, inshallah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala sayyidil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So far, we have done the past tense in active form, which is fa'ala, and it could be fa'ila, or it could be fa'ula. And we don't have any control how to remember, how to formulate that. We just have to practice by memorization. More we study, more we get memorized, which verb forms takes which type. And the present also has yaf'alu, fa'ala, yaf'alu. It could be yaf'ilu, it could be yaf'ulu, depending on the verb. Same thing. We have no control, no easy way of memorizing. Unless you memorize it, no easy formula to find which verbs will get yaf'ilu or yaf'alu or yaf'ulu, that form. So past tense middle has three forms. Present tense middle letter has three forms, a, I, u, and we have to just learn by practicing or using the certain verbs in the Quran. We will know, okay, yaghfiru is not yaghfaru, but yaghfiru. So it gets E on the middle letter. But on the passive form, good news is all the passive is constant. That means whether it's fa'ala or fa'ila or fa'ula, passive will be always fu'ila, kutila, kutiba. It's always be uia, always. Passive form is always constant. It doesn't matter what the active form was looking. Active come in three forms, but passive, when it comes to passive, they look the same. Fu'ila. Similarly, on the present tense, the passive present will also look the same. It will always yuf'alu. Yuf'alu, always middle gets a, and the present tense ya gets a damma. Yuf'alu, always this form. It doesn't matter what yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, or yaf'ulu, present will be yuf'alu. And we have gone through those in detail in all our previous classes. And once we know fa'ala, we can do the conjugation of 14 of fa'ala, 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 yafalu, yafalani, yafaluna, tafalu, tafalani, yafalna. We know those, so we have to memorize those tables like nasara, nasara, nasaru, nasarat, nasarat, nasarna, or yaskuru, yaskurani, yaskurna, taskuru, taskurani, yaskurna, all the way to askuru, naskuru. We have to remember that. So if you remember these, and passive looks the same, so it should be very easy just to think in our head how the permutations of this past and present will look like in every possible combinations of tense of numbers and gender. Should be easy. Once we memorize this table, practice it out, all should be easy. And also the dictionary that I gave and out that in the initial class that can be, or also in the class notes, we have a lot of words given to practice. So today we'll do something new, which is looking at the overall structure of all the verbs. If you do summarize what we have done, we'll find these structures. We'll find that it's divided into 6 classes. A 6 bab al-abwabu sulasi al-mujarrad, what says that if there are a group of verbs that past tense has nasara, a fatha on it, on the middle, and present has a dhamma, nasara yansuru. So there are a class of verbs that has these structures, nasara yansuru, this one. Some past tense will have fatha on the middle, kasra on the present, like daraba yadribu. So class 2 is daraba yadribu. Class 3 sometimes both has a on it, fataha yaftahu, fathatan, both has a, fatha kasra, fatha dhamma, fatha kasra, fathatan, means to double dhamma, double fatha. Some cases we find samia yasma'u, that present past has an e and present has an a. Sometimes we get karuma yakrumu, hasiba yahsibu, or yahsabu yahsibu, kasratan, Now, why this is important? It is important to convey the someone about in verb term. We always say it belongs to a nasara yansuru form. If somebody says, give you an arbitrary verb and said, what is this verb? So you have to say that this verb is nothing but it's a nasara yansuru form. So if you know nasara, present will be yansuru, you should be able to derive all of them. Or you say daraba yadrumu form. So we call this by this class. So there is none beyond these classes. All of them, all the combinations that we have in Arabic language will follow one of the 6. And out of the 6, first 4 are the most dominant ones. So we don't have to, these are the low or very low occurrences of the last 2, 5 and 6, but 1 through 4 is the most occurred one. So if you remember the 4, most of the verbs will be fitting into the from 1 to 4. So why, as I said, why did I say this verb templates are important? Just to convey, if I say, what is fatha? Then I have to say, or if you say fatha in the past tense, fatha in the present tense, to convey the both formats. If I tell them it is fatha yaftahu form, any arbitrary verb will be can be explained that way. Oh, I got it, because I know how to solve fatha, I know how to solve yaftahu, but I really needed to know how the past look like and how the present look like, because past can be a-i-u, present can be a-i-u on the ta. So if someone tells me it is fatha yaftahu, Great, I can do that because these are the standard templates. Nasara with yansuru, daraba with yadribu, fatah with yaftahu, samia with yasmau. These are the basic templates we memorize, practice, and later on someone says it is this strange new verb follows daraba yadribu form. Oh, good, I got it. Or fatah yaftu from, I got it. Samia yasmu from, I got it. So always you can convey the structure of the verb, or in grammar books they will say this is, or in the dictionary they may say it is this strange verb will be like let's say somebody says, like in dictionary it says ghafara or ghafar. There's no haraka on it. It says like this. There's no haraka on it. It will be like this in dictionary. Now said, oh my goodness, I found this one. How do I read it? Ghafara or ghafira or ghafura? So if they say, hey, the ghafara is nothing but it is follows bab 2. Oh, that means I have to write the past tense in as ghafara, but present tense you write yaghfiru. Oh, I got it. So it's form 2 of ghafara. Oh, so you can always then relate that this strange verb that came to you as a dictionary with no haraka on it, but if they say it belongs to form 2, then or says gafar nasara is in daraba yadribu form, we can do the rest because even it didn't have haraka, but you can, somebody says it's in like daraba yadribu form, we got the answer. So that's the key part, that people convey to each other what type of verb it is by saying the template. Template name, and it's kind of popular in these examples of each class, and is commonly used in Arabic grammar books to say it is Nasara Yansur form, it is Daraba Yadribu form, it is Fatah Yaftu form, it is Sami Yasmau form. These common names are being used to show the template of each type, of each verb type that comes across us. We should be able to say, convey to fellow people to say this is how the verb should be interpreted. Now let's look at the future tense. Future tense is nothing but the present tense. So future tense is nothing but a present tense. That means future is done by adding sa plus present tense or saufa plus present tense. So the sa present tense like alima, ya'lamun, sayalama, sayalamu. If you say in singular, sayalamu, or saufa ya'lamu. So basically, you add sa or saufa before the present tense, it turns into future tense. So future tense doesn't need any extra learning. So when I say here, I say yansuru. So if I say he helps, he will help in future, you can say sayansuru, sayansurani, sayansuruna, satansuru, santusa, sayansur. Just add sa before the ya, it becomes present tense. Or Saufa yansuru, saufa yansuruna, saufa yansurani, saufa yansuruna. Just add saufa before it. Before the present tense, it turns into a future tense. So now, what is the difference between sa and saufa? Both will say will do in future, but what is the difference? One important difference that is used when we try to portray something in the far future, we say saufa. Saufa ta'lamun, you will know in far future. Sa ta'lamun, you will know in near future. So usually immediate future tend to use sa, and far future tend to use saufa. So that's how, but meaning in English looks the same. They will say they will know, but sa or saufa will make it they will know soon or they will know someday, some not soon, in some distant future. This is near future. That's the difference. But you don't need to learn anything separately for future tense, because that's I mentioned before in Arabic grammar there are two tense basically to memorize. One is past, one is present. Future is a derivative of present tense with no extra skills are needed. Just add sa or saufa before it, done. So in that point of view, in Arabic has only two tense to worry about: present and past. Now we'll look at one more construct that is called imperative, or amrul mukhatab, means we are trying to address the second person, to order somebody in the second person. That means I say, you go, you sit down. It can be, you don't have to say you can say go or sit down. That means I am telling somebody in front of me to do certain action. So it's kind of ordering something. That is called imperative statements. And imperative to the mukhatab means who is in front of me, who is sitting in front of me. I'm addressing in the second person addressing. That's how the mukhatab is. And amr mukhatab formation is such an elegant form that it can be derived from the present tense. How do I write present tense into about mukhatab? Let's look at an example. That's what I showed here. Like this is taf'alu. Taf'alu, let me write down here. Taf'alu. Taf'alu means you do. This means you do. That's a regular present tense statement. It's not imperative. How do I convert that to do in the second person? Do. Hey, do. So if you want to do that imperative, first step is you take the sign of the mudare out. So I did that first step. Sign of the mudare out. So lu. Second step, make the last the last haraka get a sukun. So it becomes fa sukun, lam gets sukun. It turns into f'al. But in Arabic, we cannot pronounce a word without any vowel in the beginning. F'al, we cannot say it like that. Like in English, if you have school, it's very easy. But in some tongue, they cannot write school. They have to put a vowel before that. Is school. Even in Bangla term, they cannot write. Even the school is easy in Bangla tongue, but sometimes when it gets to colloquial, they try to put an e before that. Say is school. Same thing. They fa'al. You cannot say like that. So what we do? We borrow an alif. Before they borrow an alif, and depending on if it's a here, we put an e here. So the imperative of you do is to do is if'al. What that is, if middle has a, it gets e. There's a certain rule, it's written here. The rule is if the middle has a dhamma in the present tense, verb mid haraka is a dhamma, so it gets a u gets a u, otherwise it gets an e. So let's look at an example. So let's look at if there's any more example here. like daraba. Let's do that. Daraba yadribu. I read in bigger sense. Yadribu is he beat. Yadribu. So to convert that to a imperative, it becomes drb and then again an alif. And since it is a kasra, it gets a kasra. We say idrib, beat. Or now let's look at another one. Nasara yansuru. 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 So take the ya out, put a sukun. So it becomes nun sukun, so ar sukun, ra sukun. Put an alif. Since this is u, it gets a u. Unsur. So to say help someone, help. Unsur. We don't say insur, or nor we say ansur, we say unsur. So that's called unsur, help. And this is the thing I remember in the first few class, I showed that ihdina, it has a hamzatul wasl there. This alif that he added is called hamzatul wasl. We use a wasl alif. So unsur, we write unsur, but with the hamzatul wasl. So it will be something like this. We don't write the haraka, but we can write for us to understand. But it stays as a hamzatul wasl. But we use the u to pronounce it if it's in the beginning. But if it's in the middle of this word, then I don't need this haraka. Whatever it is before that, it will mix with it the way it is. It will be assimilated with the word. But it is always hamzatul wasl. The alif that is added, that's a wasl. Means even though I said unsur, but it can be pronounced differently based on if you're sitting in the middle of a word, then let's say if I say if I say fin sur, it will be fin sur. If it's fi before that, it will be fin sur. So not fi unsur, fin sur, because wasl, I don't need an extra alif because there is this, I have ways to pronounce it. So similarly, ihdina sirat al-mustaqim, ihdi. So ihdi, the second letter has E, so this should get an E. So that's why we say ihdi, ihdina, or say help us, and help us. It's imperative. We are asking Allah, help, guide us. Guide, it's an imperative form. Guide. In Arabic, we don't say, there's nothing called please guide like this. It should have been English. We will write, please guide us. There's a please guide us. But in Arabic, we don't have explicit please. So if please is not there, it shows guide us. And ihdina, so it's with the hamzatul wasl, we pronounce with the E, but if there is something before that, we may not need that E. So it goes as that how it get pronounced, we can merge them together. I showed that before. But if it's a beginning word, then it has to pronounce with E because this middle has E on it. Like more example, like Fataha, Yaftahu, middle gets A, so it gets E, and in Hamzat al-Wasl, it'd be Iftah, open. Fataha, he open, Yaftahu, he opens, Iftah, you open. So Jama, Yajma'u, Ijma, gather, collect. Zahaba, he went, he goes, go. Zizhab, go. Rafa, Yarfa, Irfa, raise up, something like that. So here is a Nasara, Yansuru, and since middle get U, I will put U on the Hamzatul Wasl, Unsur, help. Balaga, Yablugu, Ublug, reach. Taraka, Yatrugu, Utruk, leave, get out, leave. Something like that. So that's Kharaja, Yakhruju, exit, out. So Khalaka, Yakhluku, Ukhluk, create. Dakala, Yadkulu, Udkhul, enter. Zakara, Yaskur, Uskur, remember. So these are the way of making imperative statements. So the rule is like that. We remove the sign of the present tense, then end the letter with a sukun, remove the present tense, and add a hamzatul wasl. And if there's a dhamma, make a dhamma, otherwise keep it kasra on the alif to pronounce it. It could be if'al or if'il, but uf'ul, always uf'ul, because u gets a u, alif gets a u. Uf'ul is right. So three things can happen. It could be uf'ul or if'al or if'il. Uf'ul, if'al, if'il. If Ain gets an E, Alif gets an E. All right. So we got examples of imperatives. So now our tense table is complete. So it will look fa'ala, fu'ila, yaf'alu, yuf'alu, if'al. If'al because Ain gets an E. So basically, if I remember this table, understand this table very well for each verb point, each verb type, fa'ala, fu'ila, yaf'alu, yaf'alu, if'al, then really we can do past tense creations. We can do any present tense, any future tense, and from the present tense we can derive the imperative. It just follows from this pattern of the present tense. The imperatives is nothing new. So if I try to let's see, if I try to say the word is taf'aluna, you all do. Taf'aluna. What is happening? if it's taf'aluna, this means you all do. You are so if I have to make if I have to give an imperative in a more than one guy in second person, there are a bunch of people in front of me and said, you all do. So how do I say that? To do that, you take the ta out, and this gets dropped. Noon gets dropped for in imperative. Noon alif gets dropped. To ta gets dropped. So it becomes add an alif. So if'alu. So if'alu means you all do. So same rule applies in terms of sukun, because there is no this noon actually really there is no sukun. We'll go over that later on a little bit more in next class. If it's a singular, dual, plural, how to handle that. But the rule kind of is same, but I will go over that a little bit more detail. I forgot that we didn't discuss this yet. But this is the big picture. So if someone memorizes this big picture for every verb, what form it is, this is given by the template siga by the 6 forms. Is it nasara yansuru? Is it daraba yadribu? Is it samia yasma'u? Is it fa'ala nasara yansuru? And then you can find this one is constant, and from the yansuru is unsur will be the imperative. So then you really can see the whole picture of every possible verbs that can be formed in every tense and every numbers. It can become to the top of your head. I can derive anything from here. So I think with that I conclude today's class. Hope to see you next time, inshallah.
Jazakallah khairan. One question we have it when we are making present into future with sa, is it sa fata, sa kasra, sa dhamma? If you can elaborate more.
Always sa, like
Is it
this,
sa fata?
Yes,
Sin,
sa means
sin.
fatha. Obviously, sa comes with fatha.
Okay, so just
Right?
to be
You cannot
clear.
pronounce sa with the e, sa with the u. Sa has to be with the fatha, because sa pronounces like sin alif sa, sin fatha sa.
Yes.
And saufa spelling is sa wa fa, saufa, fixed.
Okay.
You just add that before that, you're done.
Okay, alhamdulillah. I think this also comes handy when we read Quran, and if we have to start reading from the middle of a sentence. In middle of a sentence, reading with imperative in this I and you, it becomes really handy. Sometimes if we don't have knowledge, we would be confused. Is it a
Especially
fatha?
if you read Arabic Qurans, they don't have hint. If you read Arabic Madina version, they don't have any. They will have Hamzatul Wasl sign here. There's a small Hamzatul Wasl sign. So that looks like u, but that's not u, the wasl. So since you see middle get the a, you will pronounce with the e. If it's middle of the u, pronounce with the u. Middle is the e, pronounce with the e. Only u gets the u, rest is e. That's simple formula. If middle is a u, alif gets an u. Otherwise, it's e. Always e. So anytime we find a verb that has middle a, middle u, then the alif will be pronounced with the u. And if it's middle e or middle a, alif is pronounced with the e. That's a simple principle, and it's true all across the book. Throughout the whole linguistic domain, it's same thing, same rule.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.